I welcome on stage 4 people from the companies Asandoo, Carzapp, Locoslab, and tado. Please come here, Steffi, Oliver, Torsten, and Pedro.
Komm einfach direkt.
Oh. Okay, I always like to sit next to the ladies. That's good. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so you were obviously here in one of the last years. Some of you actually have come back every year since you were first invited. And I think that is very interesting. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And maybe, Pedro, why don't we start with you? So you're here as a representative from Locoslab, right? And we spoke a little bit ahead of this session, and we actually found that one of the problems that Pedro's company might help solve is something that I think we've all encountered. Going to the airport to catch that flight, we're late, and we're like, oh damn, that's going to be really close. And then there is a long line at security, and we fear that we're going to miss our flight. And that is something in the direction of what you might actually be able to solve, right? Maybe tell us a bit about what you're doing and what you could do about that problem.
Right, so our company offers location-based services, and it offers the infrastructure that you need to build these kind of systems. In fact, it's installed in this building right now. If you download the Coden app, which we built for Coden, you can localize yourself, you can find different places, and you could do the same thing in an airport, right? So if we have a location-based service installed with with our company, what you can do is you can choose the right route based on your profile. If you're on a wheelchair, you would go through, let's say, an elevator. If you're traveling with kids, for example, you need more time to go through security. So you'd like to know how long the queue at security is so that you can plan your trip, in this case, walking through the airport better. For that, what you do is you get all of the information aggregated in an anonymous way, and you provide it to in this case, to the airport. That gives you information about, in this case, the expected wait time at the security line or other things that might be relevant for you.
And by the way, we're also going to take questions in between. If any of you guys wants to ask these 4 founders something, just raise your hand. And I'm going to give you a slight nod just so you know that I've seen you, and then we're going to pass you the microphone to ask your question. So just come forward with it if you have one. Yeah, so maybe Steffi, you could tell us a little bit about tado. I think you're in the area of connected home, smart home, right? But I don't want to say too much. Maybe you could just tell us a bit about what you're doing and also about the impressive development that your company has taken in the last years. I think you were at Coden in 2013,
yeah.
2 years ago. But you obviously started before that. So maybe just take us through the development.
Yeah, so we are a Munich-based startup, and we've developed the first smart thermostat that helps you on the one hand to save money and energy, but on the other hand, it also increases your comfort at home. It works with a geo-aware app on the smartphones of the residents, and as soon as the last person leaves the house, it automatically turns down the temperature, so with no user action required. It's working in the background like a digital heating assistant, and as soon as the first person starts approaching home, there's a signal sent to tado. Tado can start heating so that it's already warm and comfortable when you arrive at home. So in 2013, we had around 20 people working at tado, and we were active on the German-speaking market, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And today, so 2 years after that, we have around 90 people working at tado. We sell our product in all European countries, and we're working on a new product to make AC units smart, and that will go on a global scale.
And that's, of course, a very competitive field within the Internet of Things. It's maybe an idea or a problem that several companies sort of stumbled upon. One of the ones that made the biggest headlines last year was Nest being acquired by Google, but there are many more when you look at, for instance, crowdfunding platforms. So there is a lot happening in that space. Do you feel already, even though you're just a few years old, a big pressure in this industry to go for market share, or is it still a stage where you all together are more struggling to find or to explain to consumers that there is a market, so to say, or there is a product that they need, and then it's secondary whether they buy the competitions or yours? What is the dynamics in the industry?
I think for now we are all working together to educate the market, to create the awareness for this new product, the smart thermostat, the smart home, this connected things that can help you at home. So for example, Google Nest, when Nest was bought by Google, gave us a really big push. So,
oh yeah, so you want more companies being acquired by Google? Google, they're upstairs. Maybe we should tell them.
Maybe talk to them later. Yeah.
So who here maybe has some sort of a smart thermostat or AC unit? Is there someone in the audience who already uses that at home?
Ah, you see, we up there. Come by later.
So is there, who of you thinks that this is something that actually could be really interesting to have at home? So there's your market. I think you still need to grow it.
Yeah.
But these two guys, potential customers, I think it's really interesting what's been happening there. I've been following it. Don't have a smart AC unit just yet, but it definitely sounds like something that I think we're going to see in many homes in the very near future.
Hopefully, yeah.
And of course, we also want to speak with Oliver and Torsten. So maybe, Oliver, you're here from carzapp. And well, before I ask the question, I'm going to let you explain what you're doing, what your product is. It's called ZappKit, right? So maybe tell us a bit about that and also where your company came from and where you are right now.
Yeah, sure. So we presented in 2012, the first time at Coden. Actually, we launched our product called ZappKit. Originally for the peer-to-peer, so the private car sharing market, we designed a unit which can be put into every car and enables the car to be unlocked via smartphone, secures the car, and enables peer-to-peer car sharing. That was our original way to go. But the market is still very young. It's not really regulated, or it is regulated, but in a very old-fashioned way for rental companies. So we had to kind of pivot into another area. Plus, we realized that the market demand is really in the B2B area more than in the private area. So we started first to equip some car-sharing organizations like Spotcar and Starcar in Berlin and in Hamburg, which used our technology to start in the car-sharing space. Then continued the development of our platform to become a white label car sharing platform which every company can use to share their company cars, or for example, Santander now uses it to sell cars with car sharing technology to their car dealers. And so the car dealer can become a mobility service provider and instead of just selling cars which are stupid. And that's where we are right now.
So essentially, when you want to rent out your car and maybe open a small car sharing business, you could just buy 5 cars, 5 of your units, put them in, and then you go to the Copacabana and you just check your smartphone. If anyone wants to rent your car, you unlock it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't unlock it yourself. You let the user unlock it. So you can, as you said, just take some cars, put our technology in, use our app. You can white label it in your design and start a car sharing organization in a week.
That sounds pretty fantastic to me. I'm going to think about that. While I do that, maybe, Torsten, you can also explain to us what Asandoo is doing and what has happened also since you joined Coden.
Yes, we are also a finalist in 2012. And Asandoo developed a local-based service platform which you can use to provide your own services on top. And it's a very difficult product normally. So we built up an easy use case to try it at our booth, at the Alumni booth there. We bring with us an intelligent fridge. So we have a fridge with a screen in the front of, and you get personalized information when you stay in front of. So
the fridge is yours. Everybody was asking me, the one that is that has the display that is also a glass.
Yes.
We know. I had so many people asking me, like, do you know whose fridge that is? Who has seen the fridge upstairs? Isn't it amazing? Well, only he has seen it apparently. So for all you guys, is it on this side? You have to go check that out. That is freaking awesome. That fridge is really something. Go have a look, talk to Torsten, And so are you already selling this fridge, or is it just something as a showcase to show on fairs?
So the fridge directly is from a cooperation partner, the other startup. And what we're doing is the connectivity to bring you this personalized information on the screen. So that's
Right.
what we're doing.
So if I show up in front of the fridge with my smartphone,
Yes.
and let's say I really like to drink a certain kind of drink, the fridge might just black out all the other drinks and show me that my drink is right here or it's right there. For example, that could be a use case.
Yes, for example, and when you're not sure which drink you want to have, you can also ask your community, your Facebook friends, and they can give you the answer which drink is the best for you.
Cool. Are there any questions yet for these four folks? Not so far. Okay. Well, we got more questions, definitely. And if you guys also, want to ask each other something, I think you've known each other for some years now, so probably you already discussed everything last evening at the bar. But if anything comes up, just go for it. And what I found interesting, so Oliver, you told us about how you sort of you pivoted, essentially,
yeah.
right? You were going for the B2C customers, which I think for a startup is a very natural thing to do because we're all consumers, and it's more difficult to imagine what a business-to-business need might be. So maybe could you just talk us a bit through, like, how did the realization happen where you said, we have to pivot, and we're sure that we're going to be better off afterwards? Or was it like a wild ride where you just said, OK, let's go for it, we have to pivot, let's see if that works? Like, how sure were you? And what were the signs that told you B2C isn't going to work, we're going to go B2B?
Yeah, it's actually both. So on the one side, my mailbox, my inbox told me we have to pivot because we got requests from, as I said, B2B customers like companies asking, couldn't we use it to manage our fleet? Car sharing organizations that said, hey, it's cool that you do that for private car sharing, but couldn't we use it for our, for our system as well? And that was the one side, so it was demand driven pretty much, mainly. But also on the other side, we wanted to give out 100 kits for free to start in a test phase with the peer-to-peer customers. So we had 120 kits, Zapp kits, and we had to wait for the Kraftfahrt-Bundesamt, the German registration for cars, to give us a registration for our Zapp kit, so we are allowed to put it into cars. Took quite some time.
How long?
Brought us where, like at the end of the month, you have to pay some people, and if you can't earn money, that becomes a problem. And we then decided, okay, we have to sell these kits. We can't give them out for free because we need revenue. We need to, just survive. And when we finally had the registration from the Kraftfahrt-Bundesamt, we then had the first contract with the car sharing organization and sold the kits. So it was both. It was an outer influence from the regulatory side and mainly demand-driven from customers, and we don't regret it at all.
Okay.
It's difficult, and maybe that's also for I've talked to a couple of startups that experience the same thing. If you have to build up a market, demand side and offering side, so like us, a peer-to-peer car sharing market, you need cars which you can rent, but also you need people who rent the cars. And as a startup with not a lot of money, it's of course difficult to acquire so many customers that the platform gets attractive. And with the B2B focus, we now have solved this problem because, as I said, for example, the Santander Consumer Bank brings us the cars on the platform, and as well they do have customers which they can acquire for us, so we don't have to invest in the customer acquisition costs. So it solved our problem.
Yeah. So in the beginning, quite a few people here said they were from startups. So I think what Oliver is saying is check your inbox, see if there are any emails from corporate customers where you're like, no, we're not doing that. Go back to your deleted emails and see if maybe you want to bring up the topic of a pivot in your team. Could be worth it afterwards. And of course, it has brought, the successes that you've had have brought all of you guys back to Coden. So maybe Torsten, what is it that you find here? What makes you get up, come here, book a hotel in Hanover, which isn't the cheapest during this time of the year? Why are you at Coden?
First of all, we did not book a hotel, we book a house for our team every year.
Wow. So you have some big investment in the company, I guess.
And And we love this Code-N community. So we feel very familiar with the other startups. So you can combine two products to a new product. And also with the partners, we have now a case with Salesforce here. Salesforce is a partner from Code-N. Last year we talked to Salesforce and they said, oh, this is nice. Let's combine both platforms and make a new product from it. So now we show it here. So this is one thing. And also, Red Bull is a cooperation partner of Code-N, and they have the case with us with the fridge. So from our perspective, this community works, and this is the thing why we are going here since the last years.
Yeah, great. Well, we're happy to see you, certainly. I have another question for Pedro, unless someone here has a question in the meantime? No? OK. So, Pedro, we also spoke before this session a little bit about how do you actually get those first deals? And you said that you have a pilot out and you're in preparations for major deals. I don't know how much you can disclose to the audience, but maybe you can tell us a bit about how do you get those first deals? So when I'm a startup, I have a product and some people tell me like, wow, this is awesome. You should go to, let's say, Red Bull. You know, they could really use it. How do I do that? Do I go to a fair? Do I just call the info hotline? How do I get there?
Yeah, there's a hotline for deals. Yes, it's 1-800-DEAL-ME, right? No, I mean the only thing that you can do is you have to be present at many different places. So one of the things that we have identified in the last years is there's no such thing as a no at the beginning. Oh, we're not doing that. Well, let's see. Just listen to the customers, work with them, work towards a pilot first, and say, well, let's do this thing together. And decide whether or not what we have is exactly what you need, or we need to adapt it in a certain way that you need. And so in the end, what you're doing is it's not just selling a product. You sell a service, and especially what you do is you sell the it's something like a combination of consultancy, right? A very let's say simple form of a consultant job, plus the selling of a product. So in that combination, it works well. If you say, well, we have, I don't know, this product, and you either like it and you buy it, or we don't do any business, that hasn't worked for us. We haven't even tried because we don't think that's a winning thing. There are too many things going on right now, and too many apps, too many possibilities, too many companies doing similar things, and you have to be flexible and work with the customer.
So when you're saying that you're selling the product and also something like a consultancy service, does that mean that you have to build some trust in your solution?
Absolutely.
Or what is really the trigger point? I mean, if your product is just awesome, is it lack of imagination on part of potential customers? Or what is the thing, the sort of soft, intangible thing that you have to address if you have an awesome product to get it into the minds and then hopefully into the checkbooks of the accounting department of that company?
That's a very good question, because I mean, in the end, we're all in love with our products, right? We all think it's the best thing in the market, and that people don't understand right up front that it's actually something they need. It's not something that you understand at first. So you have to come down from this relationship to your product and come back to earth and say, well, okay, there's a lot of people, there's lots of interest, there's lots of dynamics within a company. That maybe the product is great, maybe they want it, maybe the financial stuff is not as they should be. Maybe there's a reorganization in the company going on right now that is stopping some deals. So in the end, what you have to do is you have to really get to know the company, get to know the customers, build a trust relationship with them, and really understand how your product can be included, can be inserted in that company, and not the other way around. So I think we have to go get away with the idea of you have a product and you can sell it. It's more we have a product, we offer the service of giving you the product with all the associated benefits that might be, but also the additional work that you have to do to convince the people.
And when I speak to people from corporations, I think they want the same thing. They want to build a trust relationship. They don't want to make a deal or even a letter of intent with a startup, which for all intents and purposes might fold and go out of business next week.
Right.
So they want to get to know the people behind it, understand why they are doing what they're doing. So I think it's on both sides, right? Right, and that is where, for instance, CodeN really works very well, from what I heard over the last days, for both startups and also established companies to get together for a talk.
So in many cases, companies, and in our experience, they don't buy products. They buy products, of course, but they also buy trust in people. So if you give them the impression, I mean, sometimes it's just an impression that things are going well, that you're the right person to do business with, then they get to know you, and then there's a trust relationship that actually works. Just selling something and saying, I'm going to, sell you this thing, and then I'm going to run out with the money. It doesn't work. I mean, it might have worked, at some point at the beginning, where, with the internet bubble was there, but right now it's impossible. Right? You cannot survive.
Right. Okay, so definitely work on that relationship. And even if you're building that relationship, it's still very important, of course, to have the fitting product. Now, Tado has been in the right place at the right time. I think we can say that with the products that you're already offering. When you look at the whole Internet of Things sort of segment developing, or maybe we could even call it an industry in some ways, do you already see some very, very interesting fields? I know you're not going to tell us what your strategy for next year is, but is there some areas where you say, like, wow, smart home, a lot of companies are working on that now. We're very far ahead, and now we're starting to look elsewhere. And there are actually, maybe among the booths here, you saw some fields where it said, like, this is a problem that is going to be very, very worthwhile solving in the next few years.
So what we are currently doing, so we have a really strong vertical focus. So we want to be the best company, the best product in intelligently control heating and AC units. But of course, what we are doing in the next few months, years, is opening up our product to integrate it in different platforms. We do not think that we could be kind of the creator of these platforms, because there are big established companies like Apple, like Google, who have a lot of experience in this field, and they will be the market leader in building up these platforms to integrate different smart products. And so we want to be part of it with opening up our smart thermostat to integrate in these platforms. And one of these cases we're currently showcasing on our booth is the IFT integration. So you can use the tado geolocation feature and integrate it with other smart products like Wi-Fi light bulbs. So when tado recognizes nobody is at home and switches to energy saving mode, then also the light bulbs are switched off.
Are you already that accurate that I don't need to trigger the light button anymore? That would be awesome.
So if you have smart light bulbs, they can just easily switched off automatically with this geolocation feature. Or, of course, you can always take your smartphone as your remote control if you just forgot to switch them off.
And the geolocation feature, that is my smartphone being tracked. So there will be some sensors in the house.
No, there are no sensors. So no geolocation sensors in the house, no motion detector. So what we use are the location services of the smartphone. So every smartphone provides. The best known is GPS, but we are not always using GPS because that would drain the battery very quickly. But there are other technologies like triangulation with the cell towers, and that's absolutely sufficient for controlling the heating system. Okay.
And you as a company also had a Kickstarter campaign, right? Which I think went very successfully for you. And you told me that there were actually 3 things that you were looking for. And one of them was customer feedback. The second one was to raise the funds, obviously. And third one, to raise awareness. And maybe we touched on awareness earlier when 2 hands went up and all the other people were like, well, this is interesting, but I haven't really considered if I need it just yet. So that was the awareness part. And I guess you reached a lot of people in the campaign. How did it go in terms of, and especially the feedback? Do people get engaged with your company? Are they sending feedback? Are you getting good inputs? Or where do you look when you develop your product further?
So customer feedback is really, really important, because we do not want to create a product that we think is great, but also a product that our customers love and have fun using it. So we are always open for feedback. We integrate feedback. We create new features according to customer feedback. And so in the case of the Kickstarter campaign, it was kind of a, let's say market research. We created the product or a prototype, an idea, and then we just said, okay, let's see what the Kickstarter community thinks. Do they like the product? What kind of features would they like to have? Where are the regions people are interested in this product? And the result was that people love it, especially in the US and on the Asia market. And together with this backer community from Kickstarter, we finalized the product, we adjusted it to their needs, and hopefully launch it this year.
Okay. Any of you planning a Kickstarter campaign, or where do you got your customer feedback from? I think you have an app at CodeN, right?
We have an app at CodeN, exactly. So
yeah.
There's,
have you seen some people using it? Have you
yeah, we have a number of downloads.
Looked over the shoulder?
Everybody's is welcome to download. If you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you can download it. You can find the fridge. You can find Tado. You can find us. You can find any other, and you can also see the agenda. So you can see what's going on today, tomorrow, and so on.
Anyone here already using the CodeN app? Not the CeBIT app, the CodeN app.
One.
So, well, difficult to get your feedback from up there. Maybe show off of a finger. How is it? So he's got some feedback for you. I think that is what he's saying. Pretty good, but I want to talk to you. Maybe catch up later. This is really worth for a startup to get that kind of feedback. When you guys look around here, and now you see the sort of the new generation, you were part of the finalists in the last years. Now we have 50 more startups presenting really amazing Internet of Things solutions for different areas. Were there any that you found really, really exciting? Not so much on a partnership level, more as a potential consumer. Was there something that really sticked out for you?
We didn't really have so much time so far, I would say, but I had a look at, for example, at Harald, who was just here before us presenting Relayer, and I really like their Wunderbar because it just helps startup to, extremely quickly start the minimum viable product and then show it to investors, or as he said, to Kickstarter and so on. So I think that they won yesterday, right? The CodeN Award. So
award.
Yeah, very good winner, very good choice.
Okay.
I really like their product.
Okay, so hot tip Relayer, and then there are 49 other really exciting startups. They were selected from more than 400 applications from 17 countries. So really a very condensed setup of very, very interesting ideas here. And if you guys have some time, just grab an info map. You can get it at the counter just behind the stage and take a stroll around, look at the startups. And for you guys, I thank you very much for this session. It was very interesting. If you still have questions and the feedback, maybe you wanna get that, just approach these folks. They're here, and you're also all upstairs, right? You have a booth there at the alumni stand. Thank you very much for being on stage with me.